ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 1 to 5.
श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत् एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परं तप स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्। अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति। श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्तः परं तप।
We started this chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita entitled as Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga last week. So we had discussed a little bit about the chapter. We introduced the chapter and also we did a little bit of summary of chapter 1, 2 and 3. Because before going into chapter 4, we should try to recollect what all we have studied so far. So the first chapter was Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the yoga of Arjuna's state of despondency. And then Sankhya Yoga, second chapter, called as the yoga of knowledge. And then the third chapter is called Karma Yoga, the yoga of action. So he gave the knowledge and also the practical wisdom of applying that action in the world. So strictly speaking, whatever Sri Krishna wanted to say is said, is completed the Gita. But because of Arjuna not understanding and also from the body language of Arjuna, Sri Krishna infers that the message is not fully taken by Arjuna. He continues. In fact, the entire Gita is a samvada. It is a discussion between the Guru and Sishya. Sri Krishna the Guru and Arjuna the disciple. It's a discussion. So sometimes Arjuna asks a question and Sri Krishna answers. Sometimes Sri Krishna infers that he needs to discuss a little more, elaborate a little more, and then he himself continues without even Arjuna's question. So this chapter also, Sri Krishna starts. In this chapter, if you see, it doesn't start with Arjuna's question. It starts with Sri Krishna talking. So with this, let us get on to sloka number 1 of chapter 4. Verse number 1.
श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्।
Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the blessed Lord said, Shri Krishna spoke to Arjuna. He said, I declared this imperishable yoga to Vivaswan. Imam Vivaswate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam. I declare this imperishable yoga, Avyayam yoga, imperishable yoga. He doesn't say just yoga, he qualifies it with an adjective and he says it is imperishable yoga. This imperishable yoga meaning he is referring to whatever he spoke in chapter 2 and 3. Whatever I have declared so far, I declared this chapter 2, chapter 3 ka essence, which is called as the imperishable yoga to Vivaswan. And Vivaswan gave it to Manu. Vivaswan taught it to Manu. Manu taught it to Ikshvaku. So he is declaring the Guru Shishya Parampara here. So he is emphasizing the importance of Guru Shishya Parampara. I also mentioned this when we did the Tattvabodha class yesterday, that we have to qualify and then take in this knowledge from the Guru in a systematic way. So this knowledge, Vedantic traditional knowledge, is passed on in Guru Shishya Parampara. And he says, I gave it to Vivaswan, this imperishable yoga. This yoga, meaning yoga comes from the root yuj, which means to unite. The individual has to gain the knowledge that I am infinite and not finite, and with that knowledge rise above the vasanas or desires that is separating me from the total. So the formula in Vedanta is God plus vasanas equals man, human being. Human being minus vasanas equals God. So what is keeping us away from the divinity? It is our own vasanas, our own nature, desires. So these desires are the barrier between us and our own true nature, the divinity. So we need to rise above the desires. We need not suppress the desire. In fact, a lot of people suppress the desire. By suppressing, you only increase more and more desire. You're not supposed to suppress the desire. You're supposed to sublimate the desire. You have to rise above the desire. So therefore, he says, yoga means this knowledge helps you in rising above the desire and uniting with the self, losing the individuality and gaining the indivisibility. I am that indivisible reality, and I am not this individual who seems to be separate from the total, limited. As long as I have this sense of limitation, I will have insecurity, and to feel secure, I will send my thoughts towards the world, which will develop further into desires. And then, as I keep on fulfilling my desires, many desires will not be fulfilled, some may be fulfilled. Even if I am fulfilled, I will still crave for more. My insecurity will continue. And not to talk about the desires that are not fulfilled, that will keep you insecure. So, therefore, I will continue remaining insecure as long as I have not risen above my desires. And I can only rise above my desires by gaining this knowledge and realizing the truth that I am, that infinite reality. So therefore, he says this knowledge is the yoga. It will help you to unite with the origin, with the reality, with infinite. And it is called imperishable because it is applicable universally to one and all. There is no caste, creed, color, community, sex, nothing. Everybody can gain this knowledge, this Vedanta, as long as you are qualified. Sri Krishna himself is going to mention that he is giving this knowledge to Arjuna because he is qualified in, I think, verse number 3. So, we need to be qualified, that's all. Qualification doesn't mean you have to belong to a particular caste. What are those qualifications? We'll see later. So, it is applicable universally to all people, and it is applicable to each and every one. It is applicable to one and all. It is not just meant for a particular set of people at a particular time. Something that is given out for a particular set of people who belong to a particular group at a particular time, that is called mata. Mata means opinion. This knowledge of Atma is not an opinion, it is the truth. It can be verified in our own life. See, opinion may not stand the test of time. It may be applicable only for a particular set of people at a particular time. They are called mata, whereas this is not matam. This is the truth. It stands the test of reality. You can verify it. You can realize it. You don't have to accept it blindly from anybody. So this is imperishable. Everything else perishes. See, certain, like for example, in the computer field, you find we keep on, updating. So they say, oh, that is outdated now. You need to learn some other language. Now, artificial intelligence has come, so you got to keep on updating. Other things become outdated. This knowledge is never outdated. It is talking about the Atma, the consciousness, which is what is enlivening all our faculties. It is that which enlivened the faculties of the beings in the past. It is that which is enlivening the faculties of the beings in the present. It is that which will enliven the faculties of the beings in future. And that is changeless substratum reality that remains imperishable. All the other perishes. So hence he declares this, he calls it as imperishable yoga, imperishable knowledge. I declared this imperishable knowledge. Which imperishable knowledge? The knowledge given out in chapter 2 and chapter 3. Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. He already mentioned Karma Yoga for extroverted people, Jnana Yoga for introverted people. When you have too many desires, you cannot sit down quietly, studying, reflecting. You need a mind which is withdrawn, not having exaggerated value for the world. Till such time, you need to engage yourself in action, giving a direction to your, the desires and rising above the desires. So therefore, Karma Yoga, Yoga of action for active category of people, where majority of us will fit in. So after we gain this knowledge from the Guru in Brahmacharya Ashrama, student life, we get into Grahastha Ashrama, married life, which is Karma Pradhana Ashrama. The lifestyle which is predominantly action oriented. Little bit knowledge is there. Jnana Yoga will also be followed by Grahastha, but predominantly Karma Yoga. And thus, slowly, the mind also, the person also through action experiences the world. Thoda bahut, desires are fulfilled. Thoda bahut, you will also, whether fulfilled or not, the mind will rise above the desires. Understands that however precious the object may be of the world, they are what? Trifle. Swamiji beautifully uses this phrase. He calls them as precious trifles. They may be precious in the world. Gold, silver, diamond, platinum, many other stuff. But they're all trifle because they're all perishable. So then the mind develops a little bit of detachment and you qualify for jnanam. Then you move to vanaprastha and sannyas, where it is jnana pradhana ashrama. Predominantly jnanam, little bit of action. So for introverted people, jnanam. For extroverted people, karma. Thus you rise above the desire and then you go to dhyanam, meditation, and through dhyanam you liberate. This is the idea. So all this I have given already. So he is mentioning that all this which I declared, to you, this imperishable knowledge which I declared to you, I declared it to Vivaswan, the sun god. And he declared it to his son. He gave it to his son, Manu, the codifier of laws. And then he gave it to Ikshwaku. So, like this, the Guru Sishya Parampara, from Guru to Sishya, from father to son, was going on. He said, I gave it. So, what he is trying to say here is that only the one who has unfolded the self can communicate the self. So, I, meaning not Sri Krishna, I meaning the Brahman, Atman, the consciousness, the substratum. See, in the beginning, when Bhagavad Gita starts, it starts with Dhritarashtra's question, not questions, Dhritarashtra asking Sanjaya, he says, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kima kurvata Sanjaya. So he's asking Sanjaya, because he's blind, he's asking Sanjaya, what is happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra between my sons and Pandu's sons? He's not talking there as the king. King should be neutral to everybody. He's talking there as the father of the Kauravas, meaning Duryodhana and his brothers, my children and Pandu's children. So we can identify either with this limited body-mind-intellect complex, which has been given this name Sri Krishna in this context, or you can identify with the Atma, the consciousness, which is the same, which is all-pervading, which pervades every being, which is the essential nature of every being. We can identify with that and then talk. So Sri Krishna here, when he says I, for that matter, any realized soul, any great master, when he uses this word I, they mean Atma. They don't mean this body-mind-intellect complex. So here he says, I declared this imperishable yoga, Vivaswan. And what did Vivaswan do? He imbibed this knowledge, he lived this knowledge, brought about transformation within, and then he passed on this knowledge to Manu, his son. The knowledge, he transformed himself, and then he passed it on to Ikshwaku. Because there is no way you can pass on the knowledge without unfolding the self. Only to the extent you have unfolded the self, you can communicate the self. So, this is how this knowledge was valued in the past. They had tremendous value attached to this knowledge, and even the kings were having great value for this knowledge. They gained this knowledge and they passed it on in their lineage. Now, I had mentioned this before. All the knowledges in the world can be categorized as important knowledge. And this knowledge, Vedantic knowledge, will be categorized as essential knowledge. Why do we call this important and essential? Why do we categorize it like this? See, for our survival in the world, we need the other knowledges. But above all, to live our life peacefully, happily, and prosperously, we need this knowledge of Vedanta. Because it explains, it talks to us about our true self, and by gaining that knowledge, we become objective. And whatever may be the setup, it does not upset us thereafter. Therefore, this is an essential knowledge. And in fact, Arjuna didn't get established in this essential knowledge. Important knowledge he had, the art of archery, the skill, all that he had. And he could concentrate very well. But in this context, he could not. Because he has to fight against his own guru and great grandfather. So he lost that objectivity. He lost that capacity to be a witness, to stand apart and deliver. This is what this knowledge can contribute. So that's why this is essential for every being at all times. This needs to be understood. Unfortunately, in today's context, people have put it into some other debates like secularism, etc. And then, many people don't contact it. Or some people have the idea that this is something that needs to be learnt after I am 60, 70. So, all kinds of misconceptions are there. Or some people think it is only for a particular caste. It's not meant for us. All madness. In fact, this knowledge has to be learned by everybody as early as possible. This needs to be taught in schools and colleges. There is no religion here. You understand? Whatever religion you belong to, you continue being in the religion. Once you gain this knowledge, you will become objective. You will be a good human being. You will be a, principle-centered human being, not principle-bound human being. And thereafter, whatever you will do will be in the interest of the total, can never be in the interest of the individual. So that's why I said this is not a mata. This is not an opinion. This is universal knowledge. And therefore, they understood the value and they passed it on in their lineage. Father imbibed this knowledge and then he set an example. He passed it on to his children. They sought it from the father. They developed themselves. They imbibed it and they passed it on. That's how this Guru Sishya Parampara is going on. We all need to be grateful to this Guru Sishya Parampara. Because see, human mind by itself lacks direction or dimension. You can ask for anything. You can ask for the moon. After swallowing the moon, it will ask for something else. It will never be satisfied. It needs direction, guidance. In the case of animals, they are naturally protected. So, whereas a human being needs to gain this knowledge, fortify the intellect, and direct oneself. Otherwise, you're finished. Therefore, this was taught, it was passed on. Vivaswan gave it to Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. The Guru Sishya Parampara continued. Then what happens? He explains. Next shloka, shloka number 2.
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप.
Thus handed down in succession, the king sages knew this. Raja Rishihi, the king sages knew this yoga by long lapse of time has been lost here. Here means in this world, O Parantapa, O Arjuna, O scorcher of foes. Thus it was handed down traditionally, Parampara Jnanam. Guru Sishya Parampara was maintained. Guru to Sishya, father to son. See, knowledge can be gained in 4 ways. They call this pramanas. Pratyaksha pramana, and then anumana, upama, agami. Meaning, pratyaksha means direct perception. You don't know about something. You see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Through perception, you gain the knowledge. Direct perception. Now, for gross things, it's possible. But as things become subtler and subtler and subtler, you have to use other pramanas. So, the next one is anumana, inference. You see something, through that you infer. It's not directly seen. So, a common example given for that is you see smoke and then you infer fire. You are not seeing fire. What you are seeing is only smoke. And then from that you infer fire. So, this is anumana. Then comparison, upama. Something which you don't know and it is subtle. Something which you know, gross, they use that, and certain aspects of it, they compare it with that subtle thing and then they explain. So, comparison may, when you compare, not all aspects are comparable. Please understand this. Then you will get into absurdity. And Atma Jnanam is the subtlest. It is beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect. It cannot be perceived. It cannot be achieved through action. It cannot be felt through emotions, feelings. It cannot be conceived through thoughts. It is that which makes you perceive. It is that which makes you act. It is that which makes you feel. It is that which makes you think, comprehend. It cannot be perceived. It cannot be achieved through action. It cannot be felt through emotions and feelings. It cannot be comprehended through thoughts. It's the subtlest. So how to pass on this knowledge? So they had a traditional method of passing on this knowledge. So this is called Guru Shishya Parampara. So he's emphasizing that. So firstly, they will explain slowly from the known to the unknown. They take you and then they leave you there. As you proceed, you're also supposed to do certain sadhanas, and then you also rise to a certain height. Then you can start understanding the subtler concepts, and then doing these things, your mind also goes through tremendous serenity and balance, and then you will slowly find the self from within revealing itself. This is called traditional parampara jnanam. So that's what he's saying here. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. The rajas of the past, the kings of the past, royal kings of the past, they gained this knowledge and they were rishis. See, rishi, you have to understand it this way. Rishi means not the one with long beard. You may have long beard, may not have long beard. That's a separate thing. Rishi means one who knows the art of right contact with the world. That's all it is. Rishihi. Rishihi means one who knows how to contact the world. Whatever may be the condition of the world situation, he knows how to contact it and be balanced in all circumstances, all situations, all conditions, without getting toppled. That is called Rishi. You understand? So the the kings of the past, they were Raja Rishis. They were not only kings, they also had this knowledge. Isn't it? It's very important. You see, in any sport, especially team sport, they focus the camera on the captain. For example, cricket. You see, the captain has to be calm. even in a very, precarious situation, difficult situation. In fact, in that situation, mainly the captain needs to be calm, then think, and then plan and proceed. You understand? Now, if captain himself is agitated, disturbed, that will influence the others in the team. So, you need to be balanced, calm, serene. The CEO, everybody should have this knowledge. CEO should definitely have it. The managing director, chairman should definitely have it. So they had it in the past. See, in fact, in Ramayana, if you see, in Ayodhya, in the court of Dasharatha, you had the sage Vashishta. He was the Kula Guru. Always there was Guru, there was knowledge. It is very important to guide ourselves with knowledge. You cannot say that it's not important. It is essential to keep us balanced always. So that's what he's saying. Raja Rishis knew this. Knew this means what? They transformed themselves, they had realized souls. And this yoga, this knowledge, by long lapse of time, now during this, now he is saying that time itself when he's giving it to Arjuna, he's calling it as long lapse of time. Now, from that time to now, lots of water has flown. Many things has changed. You understand? So he's saying due to the long lapse of time, it has been lost here in the world. O Parantapa, O Arjuna, scorcher of foes. Parantapa means one who scorches the enemy. The enemy is not outside. The enemy is within us in the form of desires, in the form of conditionings, in the form of greed, fear, etc. Jealousy, arrogance. So, you have to conquer this enemy, and to conquer this enemy, this knowledge helps. So, therefore, he says, people have slowly given importance only for the knowledge that gives them livelihood. Knowledge of life, they forgot. This knowledge is knowledge of life. All other knowledges are knowledge of livelihood. You understand? You need both. And especially this is essential knowledge. See, a lot of us value, we say how much a person is earning. We are more interested in his earnings than how much earning capacity he has and how much he can sustain for a longer period of time. That hardly anybody has. What is the character? So if the character is sound, then in any situation he can manage. So who is giving importance to all that? So that's why he's saying, due to long lapse of time, the importance of it is not understood and it is lost here in the world. O Parantapa, O Arjuna. It's gone. That's all he's saying. So nobody is now interested in this Guru Sishya knowledge. If at all, let me learn it after I am 60, 70, 25. And then feel I should have learned it when I was young. It is better late than never. That is true. But at the same time, we need to first understand the importance of it. That's why he's saying, thus handed down in succession, the king sages knew this. This yoga, by long lapse of time, has been lost here, O Parantapa. We need to think, ask ourselves, what is really valuable? So when you say value, we need to ask, what is really valuable? Of all the things that I've collected till date, for so many years, what is really valuable? If I've collected only things which are frivolous. I wasted my life. Even if one thing I collected, which is solid, that will help me to sail through. So that's what he's saying. He's emphasizing the importance of this knowledge. He continues. Next shloka. Shloka number 3.
स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्.
That same ancient yoga has today been imparted to you by me. For you are my devotee and friend, and this indeed is the supreme secret. Sa eva ayam maya te adya yoga prokta puratana. That same ancient yoga, ancient meaning time tested knowledge, it has stood the test of time, long time it's going on. There's no need for any updation in this. So he says that very same ancient yoga has today, adya, been imparted to you by me. Prokta puratanaha. By me, maya. I have passed it on. Today, that knowledge, ancient knowledge, I gave it to you. And why did I give it to you? Why? A lot of people have this question. Sir, why he didn't give this knowledge to Yudhishthira? Why he didn't give it to Yudhishthira? Because Yudhishthira did not ask. Simple. At the end of the Gita, Sri Krishna himself is going to say, don't give this to knowledge to one who does not ask. And don't give this knowledge to one who does not ask appropriately. It's not like you just like that casually after meals, you lie down and then, chalo, abhi thoda talk about Gita. No. It has to be asked appropriately and properly, having qualified. You understand? Because only then it will be received. See, most important thing is it should be understood correctly. If it's understood wrongly, it's a big danger. Hiranyakashipu went about saying, I am God. He is attributing I to the body mind intellect complex of his. Therefore, he said, I am God. Everybody must, surrender and prostrate to me. That is not what Vedanta is saying. When Vedanta says, I am God, Aham Brahma Asmi, Tattvam Asi, that the what, it is not talking about this body mind intellect complex. It's talking about the Atma. And also, it's not talking about the intellectual understanding of it. You understand? It's not an intellectual understanding. Intellectually, I'm able to understand and conceive these concepts. Therefore, I have understood Vedas. Nothing you understood. Useless it is. In fact, it becomes a big burden. Swamiji again gives a very interesting example. He says a donkey which transports clothes, a laundry will be using the donkey for transporting the old clothes to the river nearby in the morning. After washing it, drying it, he will bring it back again. He will again transport the washed clothes on donkey's back. But the donkey will always remain naked. So, like that, you can be having Gita's book, studying, talking about it, giving lecture also. Doesn't matter. You may still not benefit out of it because you have not imbibed it. You only know it intellectually. That is of no use. So he says, only when a person is qualified and approaches appropriately and gains it, the knowledge will bring about the transformation. It's very important, you know. So, like they prepare the soil before sowing the seed. So, like that, we need to be qualified for it. In fact, when a Shishya goes to a Guru, I'm just giving some example. When a Shishya goes to a Guru, a real Shishya will never ask, Sir, please teach me Vedanta. Because he understands. The Guru has yet not started teaching Vedanta because he thinks I'm still not qualified. I don't know whether I'm qualified or not. Right? Guru knows. So, there's a very interesting quotation in English. It says, a stone that is fit for the wall would not be found on the way. A stone that is fit for the wall would not be found on the way. So if you deserve, you will get it. So the Guru knows, is waiting. So you don't say, please teach me, please teach me. You go with Samit Pani, dry wood. That's the traditional way. Go with Samit Pani to the Guru, meaning telling that I am dry like this wood. I can catch fire, I'm ready. Whenever you think I'm ready, you please set it on the fire of knowledge. So you go and you keep doing service. Whatever the Guru says, you will keep doing. When you are qualified, the Guru will give the knowledge. So Shishya will not demand, he deserves. He will put on efforts to deserve. So he says, I imparted it to you. Why? Because you are my Bhakta and Saka. Bhakta means devotee, Saka means friend. Arjuna and Sri Krishna were close friends. And in friendship, there is tremendous trust. You understand? So that is a very important aspect of a Shishya. And devotion, surrendering. Surrendering in the area of ignorance. Surrendering the ego, keeping the buddhi alert, gaining the knowledge through questioning, and reflecting and imbibing it. And moving about with tremendous trust. It's not a blind faith. You understand? Blind faith is different. Trust here in the context means, see, a Guru explains many things which can be directly verified. This knowledge of Vedanta, the ultimate self knowledge, can also be verified, but it is only verified within you, not externally. So, through the very life that the Guru leads, he or she instills that confidence in the Shishya to gain that knowledge. So, you have devotion, that surrender, that bhakti to draw the knowledge from the Guru, and you also have the trust. So you need to finally put it into practice. Now, supposing you don't believe, you don't trust, what if all my years go waste? Huh? If I start studying, now I'm studying Gita, 4th chapter, and then I'm practicing many things along with it. By the time we finish 18th chapter, what if I have not achieved that transformation that I should have achieved? If supposing you have the doubt, you will not proceed. You to complete all the doubts first initially, and then become Shishya, devotee and Saka. That's what he's saying. Surrender and trust. And we need surrender in the area of ignorance. When you go to the doctor, you don't know what has gone wrong with your body. You can only give the symptoms to him. The doctor then diagnoses and then prescribes medication, dosage and all that. You have to follow that. Have trust. You can check, okay, which doctor should I go? You can take a reference, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Once having decided, having gone to the doctor, then you surrender and follow. Na? Then also, if you suspect, then when will you start putting into practice, and then when will you grow? You will never grow. It's not possible. See, the spiritual emancipation, spiritual thing is you have to pay the heavy price. Spirituality is not meant for weak minded people. Please understand this. In the final stage of spiritual goal, ultimate goal, final stage, it is giving up of the ego totally. So be ready to give yourself away. Are you ready for it? No. There's a very interesting story of Bhakta Kannappa. I don't know whether it is known and popular in the north, but it is very much popular in the south. This Bhakta Kannappa was the head of a tribe. They were living in forests, and he was initially an atheist, not believing in God. Then slowly he developed devotion to God. And one day he finds a Shivalinga in the forest. And every day after hunting, whatever meat, whatever he gets, he will come and offer it to Lord Shiva. And his way of expressing devotion was very strange. To do abhishekam to the Shivalinga, he will bring water in his mouth and then come and spit it on Shivalinga. So you'll say, what kind of devotion is this? So he used to spit it on Shivalinga and do abhishekam. And then he used to offer meat, etc. Because as a hunter, he only gets that in the forest. He offers that and he used to do, the puja. One day, in Shivalinga, you find two eyes. And from one eye, blood was oozing out. So he couldn't take it. So he wanted to stop it. He tried. It was not stopping. So he said, let me put my eye there. Now don't get into the questioning of whether he was a doctor. Did you know how to do it? What is this eye transplantation? How can you do this? Don't get into all that. Just understand the gist and spirit of what they're trying to communicate. These stories are meant to develop certain right attitudes in us. So he takes out his right eye and puts it on Shivalinga's eye. And now the blood starts oozing on the other side. Then he does it with the other eye. He wants to remove and put it there. He's ready to become blind. You understand? Completely blind now. So he is about to take his other eye. Then he said, if I take it out, I can't see where to put it. So he keeps his toe on that side of the eye on Shivalinga where he has to put his eye after removing. So then he removes this eye and puts it there. At that time, Lord Shiva is supposed to have come, blessed him and given him moksha. This is the story. All these stories communicate something very deep. Now here, in devotion, he was ready to become absolutely blind. What it means is, he was ready to lose himself. See, in the final stage, we should be ready to lose our ego totally. Even in Mahabharata, there's a very interesting episode. When Karna's wheel got stuck in the end, his wheel got stuck in the sand. Then he had to retrieve himself. By the time Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna, shoot the arrow. And when he's telling shoot the arrow, Arjuna is hesitating. He says, just shoot. And Arjuna shoots so many arrows, Karna is not dying. Why? The story says he had done so much good things. He was a great giver. He had given to so many people, so many things. So all this is giving him punya. Punya is a very interesting concept in our culture. Many people don't understand this. They loosely say luck. It's not luck. See, for every action, there is an unseen effect, result, along with the seen effect. You understand? And when it is positive, you call it punya. When it is negative, you call it pap. That unseen effect. It's gathering that impression, that momentum. So, Karna's punya is saving him, as per the story. So, what Sri Krishna does is, he goes as a Brahmana. He disguises himself as a Brahmana and goes to Karna and asks him to give the benefit of all the punyas is earned to him. And Sri Krishna knows, Karna knows that this is Sri Krishna who's come in this form. He says, I know who you are, I will still give. And he gives. So, and then Sri Krishna is supposed to have blessed him. All these stories, what they are trying to say finally. And then Arjuna shoots and he kills. That's a separate thing. You should be ready to give yourself away. We'll all be giving many things. Then we'll say, I gave it, I gave it. We will donate one tube light to a temple or a mosque or a church or whatever. And then we'll write on it, donated by XYZ. See, we must understand that the divinity is donating it through us. We cannot see, hear, smell, taste, touch, do anything without the support of the divinity. Like Shakespeare says, there's a divinity that shapes our end. So when you truly spiritually grow, finally what needs to be offered is your ego. We will be offering many things with a lot of ego. I have given this, I gave that last year, this year I'll give this much, next year I'll give this. This is nothing. This is not really going to elevate you spiritually. Main thing to be given up is that doership. So therefore, he says, you have to be a devotee, a friend who trusts completely, he readies himself to sacrifice that ego. A friend is one who trusts and sacrifices. If that you are not ready to do anything, you're just listening, reading, superficially you touch it, how will you benefit? So therefore, that qualification he emphasizes, you have to be a devotee and a friend, meaning like that attitude. And this indeed is supreme secret. You understand? Rahasyam hetad uttamam. Uttamaragasya. Supreme secret. Why? First of all, secret means that which is not known to many. Supreme secret means it is not known to anybody. Even if one or two who realizes the self and comes to know, they cannot communicate it to the other. Atma cannot be communicated through words, can only be pointed. It always remains supreme. And see, all knowledges, they vary only in degree, whereas this knowledge varies in kind. Take the example of a student in 5th standard, another student in 10th, another in 12th, another in graduation, undergraduation, post-graduation, and PhD. 5th standard fellow has some knowledge, but he is ignorant compared to 10th. Similarly, 10th fellow is compared to 12th ignorant. Like that it goes on. The PhD fellow may know many things, but he is also ignorant. So, in all these knowledges, it is only varying in degree. But when you come to self-knowledge, it is like knowledge of the waker. Supposing all these 5th standard, 10th standard, 12th standard, all these students are all in dream. Their knowledge is within the dream. There is a hierarchy. They vary only in degree. But amongst them, one fellow is woken up. Now he has become the waker. He has got the knowledge of the waker. Having become the waker, he is free from all the madness in the dream. The good, bad, and ugly that belong to the dream. He becomes instantly free. So the knowledge of the waker varies in kind. Similarly, the Atma Jnanam varies in kind All other knowledges varies only in degree. You may be PhD in any subject, even in Vedanta. You can do Vedanta in a university and get PhD, but you still remain ignorant because you are not liberated. But if a person is liberated and he is only 10th standard, let's say, I'm not therefore saying don't go to PhD and all. You do whatever, as much as possible your potential can achieve. But if you have not liberated, you are still in ignorance. This knowledge of Atma, the supreme secret, it's called supreme knowledge because it is something that varies in kind, not just varies in degree. And it's a supreme secret, it's beyond intellect, cannot be conceived. So, with the intellect, we come to that stage where I cannot conceive it. I have to dissolve the ego and allow the self to reveal itself through me. And I come to that stage, to that ultimate stage where I do sadhana and rise above. That alone is going to reveal the self. When the self is revealed, I will not be there in this jiva awareness. Knowing it as an objective knowledge, not possible. It is not an object that I can comprehend. This jiva, this body mind intellect complex, knowing something externally as an object, that is not possible in this knowledge. So, in this knowledge, when you know, the knower is dissolved in the known. You understand? And therefore, he calls it as supreme secret. So, with this shloka, today we will conclude the class and we'll meet next week. Let's conclude the class. Om Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudakshade Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasisyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti